which industries get to go back to work and which ones will have to wait a little longer. Plus, reaction from those who can't yet go back to work.
We've been able to source locally.
Could there really be a meat shortage coming? We talked to one local butcher who may have some good news. And our kids missing milestones.
I was about 50 saves away from breaking a 20-year-old probably record.
High school seniors are missing out on what would have been some of their best memories. How to talk to them about it and what 3 News is doing to help make their senior year a little brighter.
And quarantine tiffs. Arguing with your significant other right now, experts tell us, is completely normal. We'll tell you how to keep the peace in your house. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Hi, everybody, and happy Monday. We hope that you had a great weekend and you were able to enjoy some of today's sunshine. It's so beautiful outside right now. I'm Betsy Kling here in the 3 News studios, but Jay Crawford, my co-host, is home. And Jay, it is a big day for the state of Ohio. We've got some news now, at least a plan coming out about how we'll move forward in this coronavirus pandemic.
Absolutely, Betsy. Great to see you again. Hope you had a great weekend. Same to you at home. It really is, Betsy. Today is a big day. We've been waiting really all through the weekend to hear what Governor DeWine's plan would be to reopen the state. Some businesses are very close now. Others will have to wait a little bit longer. Let's break it all down for you as we enter the next phase in this fight against the coronavirus. This is the reopening phase. And as expected, some will be able to go in just a few short days. We're gradually reopening the state, doing it in stages under a plan that Governor Mike DeWine believes is the most safe way to go about this. Our Laura Queso joins us now with details who and how Ohio will get back to work. Laura, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Jay. And you nailed it. Yeah, a lot of big news coming from the governor today. He did, though, stress that as we enter this next phase, it still means we must abide by the stay-at-home order. That means no more gatherings of more than 10 people. What it does mean, though, is that in the coming days, May 1st, healthcare is reopening. All healthcare procedures that do not require an overnight stay at the hospital can now move forward. Dentists and veterinarians can also begin full steam ahead on May 1st. Okay, now let's move to May 4th. Manufacturing, distribution, and construction companies will reopen along with general office buildings. All businesses, though, must follow guidelines. That includes required face coverings, conducting health assessments daily, maintaining good hygiene, cleaning and sanitizing, and limiting capacity along with social distancing. Fast forward now to May 12th. Consumer, retail, and services will be allowed to reopen. Employees and customers, though, have to wear face coverings.
As a grandfather and father, there's a lot of things that we all want to do this summer. There's a lot of things, summer camp and other things that kids want to do and that adults want to do. We're not quite there yet. We've just got to see how this is going to work. We've got to see how the numbers look. We don't want to go backward. So one step at a time, but I think we were set for May to be a very good month as we move forward.
Fast forward, restaurants, gyms, and salons are not part of this first phase of reopening. The governor said to make this a successful reopening, we must all continue doing what we've been doing. That's social distancing, sanitizing, washing our hands, wearing our masks. The governor is also saying that if you can work from home, please do so. He's saying, Jay, we are all in this together. Again, a lot of big news coming from him today.
Big news indeed. Laura Queso, thank you very much. We appreciate it. So once again, the stay-at-home order will remain in place as all of this happens. And I want to mention we did reach out to our local hospitals. The Cleveland Clinic responded saying it's developing a phased approach and we'll share details very soon. We'll have more on what the other hospitals are doing towards reopening. That's coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. Now on to your Feed at 5, and local businesses are reacting to Governor DeWine's announcement, and for a Broadview Heights gym owner, not knowing when he'll be able to open again is hitting him very hard.
it is disappointing because I know how this affects people that I talk to on a daily basis. And
Mike Soster owns Functions of Life Fitness and Performance. It's a 15,000 square feet open air gym. He was planning to open on May 1st, but learned today that's not possible. He's not only concerned about his clients, but his employees as well. As for retail, you heard Laura say they can open again starting May 12th, but the owners of Fashions by Fowler, a women's boutique in Shaker Square, says they plan to wait.
So just so we can give our customers a great experience as far as shopping, but also a safe experience, shopping experience for myself, my employees, along with the customers.
Co-owner Renee Fowler says they want to have the proper protocols and protection in place before they open the store again to the public. As for restaurants and hair salons, well, they're left waiting and disappointed tonight. They're going to have to wait at least a few more weeks before opening, and we will have more details on that coming up tonight at 6 on What Matters Most. We also asked you what you think about the governor's plan on Twitter. 66% of you are saying yes, you agree. You can continue to weigh in on the WKYC Twitter page. We'll have comments from all of you coming up a little later on What's New. Betsy?
I think people are just so refreshed and just revived now that there's actually a plan going forward. And additionally, there's a group of Ohio Republicans that say more needs to be done to reopen the state. More than 24 Republican state representatives have signed a proposal that called for the reopening of all businesses, which is an alternative to Governor DeWine's plan that we just heard about today.
In the plan, all businesses are looked at as essential. The plan supports a full reopening by May 1st.
It's a critical crisis. We're going to start looking out for all Ohioans right now.
Republican State Representative Paul Zettwinger brought the proposal forward, with 32 other state representatives signing the initiative. In it, it says all businesses should open. Zettwinger is the chairman of the Ohio Coronavirus Task Force, but he says the proposal is not related to the task force. Rather, it was released in hopes the governor would consider it.
When you sit and listen to the people that are suffering, struggling, how many people are being laid off? And you know, I hear, well, they have unemployment. No, they're actually concerned they may never have another job for 2 years.
The plan also notes that businesses planning to reopen should be following guidelines laid out by the CDC. Ohio Democrats also releasing a proposal today that shows that 10 specific areas should be looked at first and should have plans in place before lifting restrictions. And those specific areas include testing, hygiene, and even childcare. We have more coming up at 6. I'm Annie Abraham, 3 News.
Well, now more than ever, patience is a big key. And we have been, I think, very patient as far as testing goes. This is another big topic that was covered today at the governor's daily press briefing. He announced that the state plans to drastically increase the coronavirus testing. He showed this graphic, which shows how many tests they hope to do daily. It's divided into weeks. So starting this week, they want to do just over 7,000 tests a day. By the end of May, they hope to be able to do more than 22,000 tests per day. Jay?
Very ambitious. Betsy, it is the big question tonight. Are there concerns about America's food chain? Many consumers have been wondering, and now Tyson Foods says the food supply chain is already breaking. This after they were forced to close a large plant because of a coronavirus outbreak, one of many plants in the industry that have been shut down. Does that mean a meat shortage is looming? Brandon Simmons tells us what's happening nationally as well as here in Ohio.
One at a time, we're seeing large food processors struggle to control coronavirus outbreaks inside large meat processing facilities, which ultimately forces them to shut down, threatening the nation's food supply. First, it was Smithfield Foods just a couple weeks ago, and now Tyson Foods that are part of the larger shutdowns. Tyson said in a New York Times ad Sunday that the food chain is breaking and warning their products may be in short supply on grocery store shelves. While the national supply chain is seeing issues, Jerry Kohler, owner of K&K Portage Market, says the local supply chain is strong, and he encouraged shoppers to seek out their local butchers.
We've been able to source locally
through this whole 6-week process. They have been able to supply us with plenty of products, unlike the national chains and some of the grocery stores that rely on companies like Purdue and Tyson. I feel very confident in our supply chain.
Kohler says the only time he's run out of a product is when he didn't order enough, underestimating the crowds he's seen lately. Since the stay-at-home orders began, he says business has doubled because restaurants are closed, and typically restaurants account for about 50% of the meals people eat. Now, Kohler estimates there should be plenty of food in the local supply chain for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and by then, many of the national suppliers should be able to catch up with the demand again. Again, the clear message here, love local. I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
Brandon, thank you very much. This is an important story. We know it's one you're very interested in, and 3 News will continue to follow it very closely. Well, going to the grocery store, it used to be just an average task. Now, it can be considered a risk. How safe is your grocery store? 3 News investigator Rachel Polanski checked out 10 stores in the area to find out if employees and customers were really following Governor DeWine's orders.
Governor Mike DeWine issued new orders for grocery stores earlier this month, and if you've been food shopping recently, you've probably noticed a lot of these changes.
But the distance was good. I like the way they marked off the floors and stuff like that, so that was a much better experience than before.
Just because it's crowded.
3 News Investigates went undercover using just our cell phones to take you inside these 10 stores to show you what you're really up against. And then we evaluated each store. So let's start with the good news. All 10 had an occupancy sign posted at the entrance. And at Costco and Aldi, we even saw customers waiting their turns 6 feet apart to go inside.
Lets you know that they're taking it serious, and that's a good thing.
And here's the not so good news. While most workers were wearing masks, many were wearing them improperly. Like this cashier, wearing her mask dangling off her ear. Or this deli worker with his nostrils exposed. Or this woman stocking shelves with her mask tucked under her chin.
Oh, I've been wearing a mask every time I come out of my car and go into a public place. I have wipes in my car, I wipe my hands off.
And as for customers, roughly half were wearing masks.
There are people definitely wearing masks. I don't have one because I don't have any.
Bottom line, the stores we visited appear to be following the governor's orders. But when it came to some categories, like employees wiping down carts and baskets in between use, and customers practicing that 6 feet social distancing, there were some issues. We'll tackle that tonight at 11 on What's Next. Rachel Polanski, 3 News.
All right, well, let's get a check of what else is happening with headlines here at the top of the hour with Russ Mitchell joining us now. Hi, Russ.
Hi, Betsy. Happy Monday to you.
Thank you too.
And good afternoon, everyone. Right now, speculation continues to grow on the whereabouts of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. After reports over the weekend that he was dead, South Korean officials insist nothing unusual is going on. Kim was last seen in public 2 weeks ago. Another inmate at the Elkton Federal Prison in Lisbon has died of coronavirus. 55-year-old Richard Nesby, who we're told had a pre-existing medical condition, died yesterday. This is the 7th COVID-19 death at that prison. And some seniors will soon get their prescriptions delivered by drone. More than 135 residents of the Villages in Florida are eligible for that. It starts next week through a partnership between CVS and UPS. Getting creative in these times, Betsy. I'm sure there's more of that to come.
Well, we've been seeing them testing out the drone deliveries, so now here we go. All of a sudden, it's actually going to become a reality. It'll be interesting.
That's right. I'm waiting for that cheeseburger drone delivery that you ordered from me earlier, so I'll keep waiting back there. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it, Russ. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
See ya.
Well, tonight we want to give a senior shout out to Mackenzie Yoder from Orville High School down there in Wayne County. Mackenzie is a 4-year varsity softball and volleyball player. She plans on attending Capital University this fall. We are giving big shout outs to our seniors, trying to perk up the end of their senior year, which has been a little different than everybody else's. You can send us your senior shout outs to wkyc.com/senior shoutouts. Well, it is Money Monday, and today we have some good news for small businesses. How to set yourself up for success if you want to apply for new federal money just made available today.
Betsy, we've been getting lots of questions about those missed Cleveland Indians games and refunds on those tickets. We have clarification for you on that policy. Now let's check in with Matt Wentz. Matt, what's the weather looking like today?
Well, hi there, Steph. A beautiful start to the week across Northeast Ohio. We could take Mondays like this more often, I think, but we do have some storms in the forecast this week. We'll timeline when coming up. Yeah.
Welcome back to What's New. It is Money Monday, and this morning the Small Business Administration found out that they're getting their second round of funding for small businesses, $310 billion. There were several problems with the first round, you may remember. Many of the small businesses that really needed the money couldn't get it, while larger businesses got plenty. So how should the businesses truly in need handle this round? Here's consumer investigative reporter Danielle Serino.
Well, the first thing you need to do is apply right now, because if you remember the last round of funding, well, that disintegrated in 13 days, and the Small Business Administration expects that this round of funding will be out in 7 days. So you need to get online right now. What are people asking regarding the loans? Well, let's check it out. So our first question comes from Maria Giancola, who runs Aligned Health Centers, where they focus on chiropractic and regenerative medicine. And you say last round you did get approved for a payroll protection loan, but you haven't gotten it. And you also applied for an economic injury loan. Those are the ones you have to repay, but you were denied. What is your question?
When will their website be live again? Because it used to be you could go to disasterloan.sba.gov and then check your application status. Just not there anymore.
Well, unfortunately, the portal's not up and running because they are not taking applications yet. They did get an additional $60 billion in funding, but that money is going to the people who were unable to get loans the last round. Now, you said you were denied. The appeals process, well, you're just going to have to wait, unfortunately, till they email you and let you know if you are, in fact, going to be able to get that money. Sorry.
Now, I actually have with me right now Robert Scott, Regional Administrator of the Small Business Administration, and I have some questions that people are asking. What are the 3 things that small business owners need to do so they can maximize their chances of getting this money?
They need to have a conversation with their lender, make sure that they offer the PPP loan. Second thing is make sure you have all of your documentation in order so that when you meet with that lender can submit your application to the SBA immediately to put you so that you are eligible for the PPP loan. Third thing I would definitely say is that if you don't get in on this second round of funding, there's likely going to be a third round. Both President Trump and the leadership in Congress has said if there is a need for small business to have additional funds in the PPP program, they will provide it.
And finally, how are they going to prevent those big businesses from running away with the loans like they did the last round? Well, the Small Business Administration tells me that they've specifically told businesses that are publicly traded or can get funding elsewhere, they need not apply. And if they get money, they will have to give it back. In fact, the last round, those companies gave back $1 billion in monies, which they then rolled over for the true small businesses that need them. Now, if you need additional places to go for funding for small businesses, I'll put some resources on our website, WKYC.com. Let's go back to you.
All right, Danielle Serino, great information and great advice. We certainly hope all the businesses that need the help get it. Okay, time for weather at Matt's house. It's always one of my favorite parts of the day. Matt, I hope you had a terrific weekend, number one. I also hope that today's beautiful sunshine can stick around. And your weather word today, Matt, is rebound. I always use this in a sentence for you, so here we go. Let's hope many of our local businesses rebound in a big way when they're able to reopen. Yep. It's all yours, friend.
Absolutely, Jay. I cannot wait, buddy, until we get things reopened again. I mean, it is going to be a celebration, not just in the United States, but the world. It's just going to be insane. Jay, well, you need to live in Florida because you know these nice things don't stay around here. But we got to treasure what we got. We had a beautiful day today, a pretty sour day yesterday, right? So this is even better today. And I mentioned last night, if you join me in the 11 o'clock, I think this is our week. I really do, that we're really going to feel spring around here. And you'll see here in the forecast. But today, a comfortable day. We were up near in the low 60s, actually down to the south. 63 right now, Akron. A little bit cooler near the lake. The wind kind of arcing over the lake. So areas of Lake Geauga, Ashtabula County are the coolest right now. In the regional temperatures, you can see spring is all across the country. The exception being the Northeast. They have our nasty weather from yesterday. Boston 39 with rain and wind right now. Meanwhile, we are warming in the plains. That is always a welcome thing to see. We've had the sunshine today. Those clouds building in pretty quickly, though. This is on the heels of a very quick-moving weather system that will bring rain to the area tonight. Talk about quick-moving weather pattern and quickly changing. There's that stubborn low we dealt with yesterday off the East Coast. This system will zip in here tonight. As I mentioned, those clouds will increase. We'll stay dry through the daylight hours. Once that sun sets, though, we'll start to see the rain moving in from the west. So here's your forecast overnight tonight. It will be mild with the clouds. The rain moves in, I think, after midnight or so, depending on where you are, and not expecting anything particularly heavy, but we are going to have a pretty good dose of rain tonight. And that leads us to tomorrow. We're going to have on and off showers, not a washout by any means, but I've got us at a 6 out of 10 in terms of the get outside forecast. So tonight we fall back into the 50s. Here comes that rain as we go hour by hour with your National Design Mart forecast. Pretty good dose of it. Should be pretty quick, though, as we get through the overnight into the early morning hours. And we should rebound nicely tomorrow up into the 60s for most areas. You can see we are dodging some showers, not expecting a whole lot of thunder out of this. And again, most hours will be dry tomorrow. Tomorrow night, though, this sets up our Wednesday weather pattern. We get a warm front in here with some showers and storms Tuesday night. Wednesday, we're in the warmer side of things. Temperatures ought to impress. I think they'll make it up into the upper 60s during the day. And notice that line of showers and thunderstorms that rolls through here as we go throughout the afternoon. At this point, maybe a strong storm or two. Overall, this looks like rain and storms. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast. We cool down beyond that and up to 70 on Saturday. We'll detail more about that in the next half hour.
Yes, I am.
Well, now it's time to see what's clicking in Cleveland with our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. And Stephanie, you mentioned something about the Indians, and this kind of harkens back to tickets, just period, all kinds of tickets.
That's right, Betsy. A lot of people have been messaging us asking about refunds for those Cleveland Indians games that were already scheduled but didn't happen. And so now we have an update for you on that policy there. You're going to want to hold on to those receipts because those games are currently being treated as replayed, games to be replayed and postponed, as opposed to canceled games, which is similar to what we saw with Ticketmaster. So no refunds are available just yet. So hold on to those tickets. Now, we know Cedar Point isn't opening on May 9th as planned, but that does not mean that progress has stopped on those new things that they have promised to us. They posted a sneak peek today of the Snake River Expedition Ride, saying we're excited to share this experience with you as soon as we can. And if you're missing the thrill of America's roller coaster, they also shared this video on Thursday. It's a POV video that puts you right in the front seat of the Cedar Creek Mind Ride, so you can at least feel like you're there for the time being. Thought that was pretty cool. And finally, you know, Governor Mike DeWine has issued a lot of orders recently. This one is a little bit more fun. DeWine has decided that this week is Virtual Spirit Week, giving us a throwback to our high school days. So this first one, pretty genius. Monday, Pajama Day. Lots of participation there, I am sure. Tuesday is Garden Day, so get out there, plant your gardens. Wednesday is Salute Your Hero Day. Dress up as a doctor, nurse, truck driver, firefighter, draw a picture, share it on social media. And then Thursday is Spirit Day. Show your love for your favorite school or sports team. Friday, this one's a personal favorite of mine, Pizza Day. And if you want to participate in that Pizza Day, you can hit up our Love Local initiative, wkyc.com/lovelocal. You can order takeout or delivery from what's open in your area, Betsy.
Well, just to be clear, I celebrated Pajama Day yesterday. So moving forward, we'll pick up from there most certainly, but it's exciting. And Stephanie, I have to ask, how many people out there, and you too, Mine Ride was your first big coaster there at Cedar Point. Mine actually was at
You know, gosh, I used to go every summer. I just loved them all so much. I can't remember which was my first, but I've been on that Mine Ride a lot.
It's a good one. Thanks, Stephanie. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we finally heard today Governor DeWine's plans to reopen the state of Ohio. And I'm sure you have an idea on it. But what are some other people around us saying? We're going to check out the buzz on social media. And do you need a vacation? Holla, yes. But here's the thing. It may not be the best time to book a trip right now. We'll be right back.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Yes, it is a very happy Monday, and welcome back to What's New. I'm Jay Crawford, still coming to you from Studio J, and my co-host Betsy Kling is back at the WKYC studios. Betsy, let's jumpstart the second half hour with something good. What you got?
Well, many of you might know that Pitbull, the rapper, not the dog, released a new song called I Believe That We Will Win. Well, it's about beating this pandemic. He's since launched a social media challenge called I Believe. And people all over are doing this challenge, including himself. Now you see his outfit here, right? He inspired a little boy to take a look. All right, there you go. The first outfit is almost identical, so cute. And Pitbull shared the video saying, "Love your style, sunglasses, and your dance moves." How about that? That little dude's got some moves going on there, certainly. But Jay, I think anybody, who's anybody just knows that you have to live in the moment and go for it. And when Pitbull has on fabulous shades, you put your fabulous shades on and you believe too.
Well, my question is, when does Pitbull not have on fabulous shades?
I know, he's lucky. That's
He
part of
wears
his
them
look.
inside, and he wears them when it's dark out.
It's a
but
good
he
thing.
is Mr. 305. Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. All right, Betsy, thank you very much. It is time now for our top talker, and there is no doubt that Governor DeWine's announcement today on his plan to reopening the state is our top talker.
I don't think I have to tell any Ohioan the importance of moving forward. We can get this economy moving back, at the same time continue to protect each other and protect our communities.
However, we are moving forward slowly. On May 1st, health procedures that do not require an overnight hospital stay will start up again, and that is huge news for hospitals, which are losing so much money right now. Dentists will also begin opening again. On May 4th, manufacturing, distribution, and construction will open up. General offices can open as well, but if employees can work from home, they should continue doing such. Employees and clients will need to wear masks in their offices. Then on May 12th, that's the big day, retail can open again, but all employees must wear facial coverings, and it's recommended that customers do the same thing. The governor did not mention when gyms or restaurants will be reopening. Now, as you might imagine, opinions vary widely and run hot on the governor's plan. Let's see what you are saying about it. And for that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, good to see you again. I know you've been tracking reaction to this all day long on social media. I mentioned our Twitter poll earlier. According to that, 2 in 3 Ohioans agree with the governor's plan on reopening. But what specifically are they saying about it, Steph?
Jay, not only is the timing of Governor DeWine's decision to reopen the economy being debated, but also the issue of the mandatory face masks being fiercely debated online. So on the one hand, you have the people who are saying that this plan is a good one, recognizing this is a very tough decision to make, and DeWine has a lot of lives in his hand, but also pointing out that everyone's view on this is colored by their personal situations. Then there are those who still think that this is too soon and we're not learning from other countries, like this user who wants to wait and stay home, saying they'd like to sacrifice a couple of months to put this to bed and not have to worry about it anymore, and mentioning northern Japan, which opened back up and then did have to shut some things back down again. And of course, as you mentioned, part of the plan includes those mandatory masks for retail workers and customers. That's starting May 12th. Well, this is a body autonomy issue for a lot of people. One person saying I should not be forced to wear a mask. It should be my choice. And another person bringing up the fact that somebody's going to have to pay for these. And that brings up the issue of access to masks. Who can actually get access to one? Who can afford one? So lots of opinions out there. We have a ton more on WKYC.com. So if you want to weigh in on that conversation, you can find it there and on our app.
Well, Steph, it is a hot button topic to be sure. Stephanie, thank you very much. Betsy?
Thank you guys very much. Well, let's check back in with Russ Mitchell for more of our headlines here at the bottom of the hour. And Russ, we finally got an idea of what is going on with Ohio's reopening, but we're not the only ones who are dealing with this, obviously.
You've probably heard a lot about Georgia, which is leading the way in allowing more businesses to reopen. And today, restaurants and movie theaters were allowed to open their doors. On Friday, last Friday, it was back to business for hair and nail salons, tattoo parlors, and gyms. The governor says he is following health guidelines, but many Georgia mayors have issued their own orders, saying it is much too early to open up. By the way, the AMC movie chain says it will not open any of its theaters until July. The company told The Hollywood Reporter it wants to wait until there are new movies to release. And there are now several new symptoms for the coronavirus to be aware of. The CDC says those include chills, repeated shaking with chills, headaches, muscle pain, sore throat, and sudden loss of taste or smell. So, Betsy, as you see, we're still learning about this even in the middle of it.
And every time somebody talks about the taste or smell, I immediately go, can I taste? What am I smelling? Just to make sure. I can't help it. It's like just this reaction I have.
And you're good today, for the record, right?
So far.
Because we're both in the studio. Just making sure.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Somebody's checking on me. Thanks, Russ.
See ya.
Talk to you at 6. All right. Well, you may have seen them
spread some
lurking
love
around
and just make people smile.
the Metro Parks. They are a family from a prehistoric past, but they're helping to bring smiles to people's faces in this era of pandemic uncertainty. And they are taking social media by storm. Andrew Horansky talked to his Jurassic friends to explain.
We thought that dinosaurs died out millions of years ago, but now they've returned. Dancing to mariachi music outside a grocery store in San Antonio, delivering tacos in St. Louis, watering plants in Sedona, and now even supporting small business in Bay Village.
They've been over to the Knickerbocker retirement home. They've actually been in and out of Heinen's in Bay, the local grocer. They were actually invited in, so they made a quick lap in there.
They go by the names Marvis, Lincoln, Bruce, Roberta, and Ruth, all local streets, walking with the message, keep smiling. Something we're doing ever since we first spotted them, with people like Pam on Facebook writing, with gratitude.
The dinos prefer to remain anonymous, but they're loving all the hype they're getting online.
Though we can tell you their moms, all still working, proving that even though pandemics may be serious, life doesn't always have to be, and that laughter may be the best defense, certainly contagious. Expect to see this group surface again on Friday afternoons.
Parading through Bay just to kind of lift the spirits of people in the community.
Dinosaurs, we hope, will never go extinct.
You can always tell which direction the wind is blowing because the heads tilt on those things. Well, with many states beginning to lift their stay-at-home orders, you might be ready to book your next getaway. Take a deep breath, though. You may want to hold off a little bit longer. I know it's really hard to do, but we have some tips on why and when. All right, Matt, how is the weather looking out there?
Well, hi there, Betsy. A beautiful sunshiny day, but I think everyone's asking how many more days do we get this week? We've got some storms in the forecast and a nice looking weekend. We'll detail it all coming up in your forecast.
All right, so maybe you had that big vacation planned for spring break. It got canceled. Now you're sitting on some travel funds. You're ready to use them up. You're thinking good things are coming, and you want to book that next vacation. But travel experts say it's still a little bit too soon for that. They say big hotels, resorts, and airlines may not be super flexible right now. Instead, book something closer to home, and you can support a small business. Now that we're hitting summer, this makes it a little bit easier. But if you do decide to book a big trip, remember this.
Or you may need to accept that you're going to get a voucher from a merchant to spend instead of sort of that cash back if things do fall through.
All right, expect there to be an uptick in trip insurance this vacation season too. And when you book your travel and you select to do that insurance, make sure you read the fine print and call and ask about illness and sickness as well. Very important. Well, let's get a check on the weather. You know, Matt, they have told me that I'm supposed to be delegating more. And with all this pressure with, you know, we have to have nice weather right now so everybody can do their stuff. I'm going to delegate that to you. So we need you to bring us the nice weather.
Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome. I'm responsible for today. Betsy, why don't you get Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I'll hop back in later this week. Does that sound good?
Well played. Well played. All right, take it away, smarty pants.
Yeah. All right, I can play those. I can play those games. All right, let's talk about the sniffling and sneezing first. I've got your sneeze cast for tomorrow. Obviously, a lot of people suffering from allergies this time of year. The trees are in full bloom. It is beautiful across northern Ohio, but the tree pollen is in the moderate category tomorrow. Grass and weed pollen will be in the low category. We're not dealing with anything too major there, at least not yet. That weed pollen usually kicks in a little bit later in the year as we get towards September. All right, let's talk about the sun today. We had it. I've already seen it going away. We've got the high clouds. It should make for a very nice looking sunset across the area, but those high clouds off of a weather system which is close by. Areas of Michigan now seeing some heavier rainfall. That will move in overnight tonight. That's along a boundary that's setting up between the warmer air that's trying to move in and our cooler air that we had over the area yesterday. But temperature is still very comfortable. Beautiful evening to get out for a walk. Let the kids out in the yard to expel some energy. You know how to treat these kind of days because they have been precious so far this spring, and that warmth continues to build with 70s and 80s in the plains, and that warmth will spell its way eastward as we go over the next couple days, as you'll see here in the forecast. Tonight, though, those clouds increase. We bring in rain a little bit after midnight, a little bit sooner out towards Sandusky. Your National Zymarn hour-by-hour forecast shows that rain moving in from the northwest is where this is moving in from. Could see some heavier downpours tonight. The bulk of that should be out of here by tomorrow morning, and then we just deal with a lingering boundary that could spark some showers throughout the afternoon. I think most hours tomorrow will be dry, though. It will be a pretty nice day. We should make it well up into the 60s for most of you, a little bit cooler off towards the north, but all in all, not a bad Tuesday outside of those raindrops. Watch what happens Tuesday night into Wednesday, though. We get a line of showers and thunderstorms that'll develop along a warm front that will push in here out ahead of Wednesday's weather system. Could have some decent lightning with that. We tend to get a lot of lightning with warm fronts as that moves through. And then Wednesday features a couple waves of some showers and thunderstorms, and then likely one bigger wave later in the day. Some of those could be on the strong side right now. Doesn't look like we'll have enough instability with that, but overall, we will be dealing with some thunderstorms around on Wednesday. Universal Windows Direct 7-day forecast continues the story on Thursday. Thursday looking a lot like yesterday. We'll be on the backside of a swirling area low pressure, cooling temperatures with breezy, showery conditions, but then look at the weekend. Saturday, I've got us at 70 degrees with sunshine. Can it actually be dry on a 70-degree day? We may have it on Saturday. Betsy?
Oh, man, that definitely looks good. We've been telling people for the last week, as soon as we get into May, it looks like that pattern was going to change, and indeed, it looks like that will provide. Thank goodness. All right. Thanks so much, Matt. Have a great evening. Well, now it's time for our daily dose of entertainment news. I know you've been cooped up looking at each other, wondering things getting a little tense. Well, believe it or not, the celebrities, they will provide. And we could have our first celebrity quarantine divorce. Stephanie Haney has the details on a shocking split in today's Pop Break.
After a drama-filled decade together, Kristen Cavallari and Jay Cutler are calling it quits, shocking everyone with separate Instagram posts yesterday saying this: "With great sadness, after 10 years together, we have come to a loving conclusion to get a divorce. We have nothing but love and respect for one another, and we are deeply grateful for the years shared memories made, and the children we are so proud of. Court documents obtained by E! News say Cutler filed for divorce from Cavallari, citing irreconcilable differences. The former NFL player asked to be awarded reasonable attorney's fees and other general relief to which he may be entitled. Cavallari's response claims Cutler committed inappropriate marital conduct. Yikes. Speaking of major splits, the man formerly known as Prince Harry is working on his first major project post-senior royal step-down. It's called HeadFit, and it specializes in something close to Harry's heart, providing mental health care to the UK's military. The new initiative, almost 3 years in the making, was first announced by Meghan Markle in 2017 as part of the Royal Foundation's mental health campaign, Heads Together. And Meryl Streep can now add meme queen and gift goddess to her already incredibly long resume. She dropped into Stephen Sondheim's virtual 90th birthday concert last night to sing The Ladies Who Lunch from the musical company.
Something for that. And one for more.
Belting out the song with Audra McDonald and Christine Baranski, the star sipped a martini in her bathrobe during the performance. Talk about a relatable queen. Obviously, Meryl and her girls got the memo that it's very in vogue right now to show up in your pajamas and your bathrobe to a meeting. So we might not be in our pajamas, but Betsy, I do want you to know that I fully tried to have a chocolate bar martini delivered to you, but unfortunately, they are not open till Thursday, so we couldn't cheers those ladies properly.
It would have been classic. That would have been a good Monday maker right there, definitely. Well, we'll have to tee it up on what, Thursday they're open? We'll make it happen.
I'm sure we can work it in.
We probably will. All right. Thanks, Stephanie. Have a great evening. Well, being cooped up inside with your significant other all this time, yeah, it may be causing some arguments. Relationship experts weigh in on how to handle quarantine tips and what happens when one kid is over homeschooling. It's a great worth a watch. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to What's New. One of the unintended consequences of all of us being home virtually all of the time, around the clock, well, we're spending a whole lot more time around our significant others, which could lead to, let's just say, disagreements. If that's you, don't worry. Experts tell us that is completely normal right now.
Secure attachment is based on leaving and coming back. And so there is a bit of a threatening to that security. I mean, that's the noise and disruption that people are feeling because we don't get as much consistent, useful and healthy disruption in space. So it's about figuring out how to do that. If it's not physical space, then it needs to be some emotional space. It needs to be, space could be difference in scheduling, creating a schedule every day, creating a structure.
And when feelings start boiling up, make sure you check yourself too.
The problem is that if you're with a partner all the time and they're the ones irritating you, you have to have good self-regulation skills to be able to separate from that and be able to kind of bring yourself emotionally back down so that you can re-engage with your partner. So,
Kids.
Or kids.
Because it really does apply to all.
Absolutely.
Well, it turns out those two experts run their own practice, and as you probably guessed by now, they're also married themselves to one another. They also suggest taking similar measures if you're arguing with your kids and if they're sniping at one another. Well, the class of 2020 should be getting ready for prom and other end-of-year activities. They should be. Sadly, the coronavirus had other plans. NBC's Sarah Daloff talks with experts about how to talk to your kids about all of the things they might be missing.
Amelia Leahy's senior year has been cut short, her prom dress going unworn, the dance is off, so is the rest of lacrosse season.
I was about 50 saves away from breaking a 20-year-old probably record.
She understands why, but is disappointed.
Because it's been such a big, impactful part of my life and such a good part of my life that I don't want to see it as over.
It's not just seniors. Coronavirus is canceling rites of passage for students of all ages, like saying goodbye to friends and teachers, moving to new grades or schools, parents facing tough questions about what's to come.
Not being able to give answers is very difficult. It's very hard.
The first thing is to answer honestly.
Dr. Melissa Gilliam, an adolescent behavior expert at the University of Chicago, says parents shouldn't be afraid to say, "I don't know," or use storytelling to get at the emotions driving questions.
You can say, this virus, this pandemic, it reminds me of another story of what it feels like to be really scared, and this is how I managed it.
Playing games or puzzles gives teens and kids the chance to open dialogues.
While we play something or do something, we're focused, we're together. And it's often in those moments that these questions arise that may not otherwise have a space to happen.
Families can recognize or recreate missed milestones. Kayla Grace McSwain's family brought prom to their front yard.
I'm so excited that my parents did this for me.
Making those memories in unexpected ways. Sarah Daloff, NBC News.
Sarah, thank you very much. 3 News is trying to make senior year just a little bit brighter for the class of 2020. We'll recognize them on air as well as on our website, but we need your help. Know a senior in high school? Send us their picture, their name, school, and a brief description about them. If they're going to college somewhere, tell us where they're headed. You can find the form on WKYC.com/senior shoutouts. We want to recognize as many as we can. A little boy with a golf ball inside the house. What could possibly go wrong? It is our Worth the Watch, and it is worth the watch.
Hey, I'm with you.
Well, it's time now for our Worth the Watch. And parents, especially those with little boys, you might be able to relate to this. Take a look.
What shape is that?
I would like to just say Dad is the one with the video camera or the camera there, obviously, and he is the one that posted it. I am wondering if Dad is not the instigator on this. Hey kid, hit your mom in the backside. There you go. Sick of homeschooling, at least.
Yep. Fantastic. Glad it was a foam ball.
Exactly. Well, on behalf of Jay and I, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. What matters most is up now.